declared that I think, therefore I am. By uttering this statement, he sought to establish a foundation for knowledge that was beyond doubt. Descartes realized that he could doubt the existence of his physical body and the external world, but he could not doubt the fact that he was thinking. In other words, the mere act of thinking proved his own existence. Similarly, in our post-graduation program, the course Intellectual Traditions in History reminds us that in higher education, our existence is aimed at refining our thinking by examining thought process from ancient Greek philosophers to modern and post-modern thinking models. Throughout the discourse of this paper, by engaging with genuine interest, I observed that the primary object of this paper is to encourage us to examine our assumptions, question our beliefs, and critically evaluate our understanding of the world. By doing so, we can establish a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, much like Descartes' assertion that thinking proves our own existence. In this presentation, I try to reflect specifically on what I have observed from the projection of the second part of the paper, Intellectual Traditions in History. As the title suggests, the paper aims at making sense of different intellectual thinking process in history. In the previous semester, we dealt with the first part of the paper, Intellectual Traditions in History. Through the discourse of that paper, we explored the ideas of Greek philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. We studied how their thinking process and philosophical domains established and changed the world of thinking. What is unique about this paper is that along with theoretical aspects, we learned how to read a text, engage with it critically. For example, we analyzed the short story Jogera Anjappana Kolikate to understand multifaceted aspects of literary studies. Later, we jumped into exploring the rich intellectual traditions of ancient Greece. Likewise, during the fourth semester, while employing with the second part of this paper, we mainly aimed at understanding models of modern and postmodern thinkings. Apparently, the assumption is that this paper is meant for only teaching theory, but it dismantled this assumption by engaging us with two short stories and an essay before exploring intellectual traditions with the aim of how to study reflectively and how to engage with critically with the text in order to make our act of reading as productive. This approach reminded us that our role as students of literary studies by emphasizing that our task is not just to work with text but to engage with them critically and reflectively. What is remarkable about our study process through this paper is that we did not just focus on theorizing text, but we also explored with the process of interpretation. We examined that our role as interpreters by emphasizing the art of interpretation. In other words, we attempted to do justice to the understanding process without reducing it to a subjectivist or specific philosophical framework. It is my argument that through the discourse of the paper, we explored the multiplicity of interpretation and different possible ways of understanding. However, valid argument must be supported by explanation. So I would like to recall how we were engaged with and what we understood from the paper. We studied two short stories. The first one is Folk Tale, titled What Happens When We Really Listen. It taught us a valuable lesson. By employing with this story, we discovered that a progressive and pragmatic approach to teaching pedagogical skills, which marked a significant departure from conventional teaching and learning practices like LSRW skills in language classes. Additionally, through our engagement with this story, we gained insight into the importance of folk traditions and how they attempted to address cognitive process, thereby assisting in shaping societal mindsets. Secondly, we explored another short story titled Tukula's Story. from Tamil poet, written by Tamil poet Shekila from the book More Than Real. Through our discussion of this story, we re-examined and expanded our understanding of literary studies. In an era where consumerism and materialism have intensified and scientific truth has emerged as a dominant paradigm, many tend to view the interpretation and analysis of text as disconnected from reality. However, Kuppala's story revealed to us that the mind and imagination are more real and influential than tangible, concrete and material aspects of reality. This is because every action, decision and perception originates in our mind. Therefore, by studying Kuppala's story, we gain significant insight into the transformative power of imagination and its capacity to shape our understanding of the world. Furthermore, by moving the research attitude of David Sulman to bring out the history of imagination and cultural practices in South India in the book titled More Than Real, we gained insight about the importance of having a research attitude. Here, what we need to observe that both stories are from Indian culture, especially from folk traditions. Therefore, it marks that we have to look back our folk culture, which also address our present problems and enrich our understanding of the world. As students of English literature, we often find ourselves gravitating towards Western traditions, which are more familiar to us. Our discussion on the Indian Sanskrit philosopher Irenaeus' essay, What to Expect of Poetry, basically aimed at to highlight the importance of exploring literary traditions from diverse cultures, including India. Additionally, this essay led to us examine the Sanskrit literary tradition's unique perspective on poetry. Through this essay, we gained an idea about the concept of Saharudaya, which emphasizes the importance of having a poetic art, or of shared taste and understanding between the poet and the reader. We learned that poetry is not just a creation of poet, but a collective experience of that arises when the poet and the reader share a similar taste. This idea challenged our conventional understanding of the poetry as merely a reflection of society or nature. By engaging with this essay, we realized that cultivating Saharudaya is essential in literary studies. However, it is not enough for a poet to write poetry, but the reader must also possess a similar taste and understanding to fully appreciate the work. These ideas extend beyond literature and highlights the importance of empathy and shared taste in achieving meaningful existence in every aspect of life. As students of literary studies, we often struggle with the concept of meaning and its connection, its construction in text and the world around us. To address this problem, we explored two influential schools of thought, namely structuralism and post-structuralism. It is difficult to precise what we have learned from structuralism and post-structuralism, but I have tried to precise in two paragraphs. If I didn't conclude all the things, I'm sorry, but what I have learned is mainly I have observed main things I have written here. Through the examination of structuralism, we discovered that meaning is not inherent in individual words, but rather emerges from the difference between them. This insight taught us how to analyze text, culture, society, and the world at large. Thereby, we learned to approach meaning as a product of relationship and contrast, and we understood that language is sign of system which functions with having an underlying deep structure. Later, our discussion of post-structuralism broadened our understanding by highlighting previously neglected aspects. We focused on literary text as our primary object of study to seek answers to fundamental questions. What constitutes text? How does it come into being? What role do authors and readers play in shaping meaning? Who ultimately brings meaning to text? And how can we interpret it effectively? To address these questions, we discussed two seminal essays from post-structuralist thought. death of the author, and what is an author. These texts challenge our assumption and about authorship and meaning and interpretation. So, to summarize, the primary goal of this paper extends beyond merely presenting various theories to students, but its main objective is to thoughtfully explore the profound implications and significance of the pragmatic philosophical concept, what we do with what we have. Thank you.